Hello everyone. If you have found this video, my guess is that you're worried about a teenager who you know. They might be in your family, someone you teach, someone you've met in a club or playing sports. You might have seen this young person struggle with anger or displaying worrying signs of toxic masculinity or just spending a lot of time online and becoming more isolated from friends and family. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 effective strategies for dealing with the emerging problem of toxic masculinity in teenage boys. Perhaps he's showing worrying signs of toxic masculinity at home or is spending a lot of time online and you're worried about the material he might be looking at. If you found this video, you must be very concerned. Well, take a deep breath and let me help you with my 5 top strategies for coping with this growing problem. If you enjoy this video and find it helpful, please make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more mental health content, which I will be uploading every couple of weeks. My name is Mel and I'm a psychotherapist who's worked with children, adolescents and adults for the last 18 years. Last night, I finished watching the harrowing 4-part series Adolescence on Netflix and found it very moving. It reinforced an issue I see affecting many teenage boys today: the struggle with masculinity in a world that presents them with conflicting messages. Jamie, a character in Adolescence, represents so many teenage boys: low self-esteem, low resilience, an ambivalent relationship with his parents, and a reliance on the online world when the real world feels critical and overwhelming. Like many, he is exposed to incel messages and influencers with skewed views who claim to offer clear guidance on what it means to be a man. Adolescence is the most watched show on Netflix at the time of making this video. The show has also sparked a national conversation about the impact of social media and the manosphere influencers. In fact, Britain's Prime Minister Sir Kier Starmer said in a BBC radio interview, "There's a reason why the debate has suddenly sparked into life. A lot of people who work with young people at school or elsewhere recognise that we may have a problem with boys and young men and that we need to address it. And if the Prime Minister thinks we need to address it, then it's time for us to dive right in." Let's start by looking at how this has become such a big problem with teenage boys. The Centre for Social Justice recently published a report stating boys are struggling in education, more likely to take their own lives, less likely to get into stable work, and far more likely to be caught up in crime. The numbers don't lie, something has shifted and we cannot ignore it any longer. It's not just about Andrew Tate or online influencers, they're the symptoms, not the cause. The deeper truth is that too many boys are growing up without the guidance, discipline and purpose they need to thrive. If you're interested in reading this report, you can find a link to it in the description of the video below. In the show, 13-year-old Jamie is bullied on social media to make him feel ugly. He's a vulnerable kid and then he hears this stuff which makes sense to him about why he's isolated, why he's alone and why he doesn't belong, and he ingests it. He just doesn't have the filters to understand what's appropriate. At his age, with all these different pressures on him and with the peculiarities of his society around him, he starts to believe that the only way to reset this balance is through violence. Toxic masculinity refers to cultural expectations that men should be tough, dominant and emotionally repressed. It discourages boys from showing vulnerability, promoting the idea that real men don't cry or ask for help. Social media amplifies these messages, with influencers spreading messages that equate masculinity with aggression, wealth and control. The consequences are real. Young men struggle with mental health, have difficulty forming healthy relationships, and feel pressured to conform to unrealistic ideals. Now it's time to discuss someone who's been in the news a lot recently who you might have heard of: Andrew Tate. Tate is a prime example of how extreme masculinity has gained traction online. He tells boys that success comes from being powerful, dominating others, and rejecting emotional vulnerability. He portrays wealth and control as the ultimate measures of a man's worth. Many teenage boys, especially those feeling lost or insecure, are drawn to this message because it offers clear rules and a sense of belonging. However, this mindset is harmful. It leads to the suppression of emotions, misogynistic beliefs, and unrealistic expectations for success and relationships. When teenage boys absorb Tate's messages, they often feel pressured to act tough, push down their emotions, and they might measure their self-worth based on financial and social dominance. This can lead to aggression, isolation, and a reluctance to seek support when they need it. Studies show that men who struggle with expressing emotions are more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. These issues aren't new. But the show has come as others are also discussing the dangerous messages aimed at boys and young men. Former England football manager Sir Gareth Southgate delivered a speech warning against callous and manipulative toxic influences. They're as far away as you could possibly get from the role models our young men need in their lives, he said. The Netflix series Adolescence has opened my eyes again to the challenges facing young people and parents today. But how can we tackle those challenges? That's the hardest part, but I'm going to give you my 5 top strategies today. That's 5 ideas that will help you reach your troubled teen. So, how can we help teenage boys navigate these conflicting messages? Tip number 1. Create a safe, non-judgmental environment. Approach conversations with curiosity rather than criticism, making it clear that all emotions are valid. My second tip, use relevant role models and stories. Introduce them to real-life examples of healthy masculinity. Here's a great example. Jamie Lang is a Radio 1 presenter and TV personality who's been on the hit TV show Made in Chelsea, and this month he ran an amazing 5 ultramarathons in 5 consecutive days for comic relief. As he finished this incredible feat, he had tears rolling down his face, and I loved the way he was so open and honest with his emotions. He posted on Instagram, "In a time when toxic masculinity is seeming to bubble through, it's important to remember that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be anxious, sad, upset, it's okay to be not okay. As a nation, we need to remember this. We need to share our emotions and not feel wrong, ashamed, or afraid that we'll be alienated. Vulnerability is cool. Well done, Jamie." Okay, on with my top tips. Next up, number 3, ask open-ended questions. Encourage discussion by asking, what do you think makes someone strong? Or how do you feel about the messages you see online about masculinity? By showing an interest in their thinking, they will be able to explore their own views and hopefully start to question some of the toxic masculinity they've been encountering online. Help the young person explore these subjects from lots of different angles. Keep these conversations ongoing too and allow for different and changing points of view. Which takes us to my 4th tip for you today. Normalize emotional expression. Show that expressing emotions is a sign of strength and not a weakness. It's a sign of self-awareness and resilience. It's okay to feel angry about things. Feeling angry is different than acting aggressively. We can't choose our feelings, but we do have choices about how we behave. That's an important point. Feelings and actions are different things. And last but not least, here's my tip number 5. Offer practical coping strategies. Teach healthy ways to manage emotions, such as talking to trusted people, journaling, or engaging in physical activities. Sometimes it takes a while to find a coping strategy that works for you. I often refer to people developing a whole toolkit so they have a different go-to for different situations. If you are at school in a lesson, you can't suddenly go for a run, so a breathing exercise might be more helpful in that situation. Okay, so those are my top 5 tips for supporting teenage boys around the difficult area of toxic masculinity. If you have any others that you'd like to share, then please let me know in the comments section. Now I want to go on to the big topic of social media, as there is a huge debate around this at the present time. Some teenagers live so much of their lives online, and while social media and gaming offer connection and entertainment, there are also the possibility of cyberbullying, online predators, and exposure to harmful content. Just removing a child's mobile phone might seem like the answer, but I imagine you might have a battle on your hands if you go for this strategy completely. So, if we accept that phones and social media are part of young people's lives, then we have to teach them how to use them and interact with the online world safely. So here are 4 bonus social media tips to help you help your teens in this area. So first up, remember that open communication is key. Instead of strict bans, encourage honest conversations about their online experiences. Create a space where they feel comfortable discussing what they see, who they talk to, and any concerns they have. Okay, second tip. Education is crucial. Teach them about privacy settings, strong passwords, and the dangers of oversharing personal information. Help them understand that what they post online can have long-term consequences. Time for my 3rd tip for you. Encourage critical thinking. Not everything online is true or safe. Teaching teenagers to question information, recognize manipulation, and avoid scams is as vital as teaching them road safety. And finally, tip number 4. Lead by example. Show your teen how to use technology responsibly, set boundaries for screen time, demonstrate respectful online behaviour, and remind them that the internet should enhance life, not replace real-world connections. By fostering awareness, trust, and digital literacy, we can help teenagers enjoy the benefits of the online world while staying safe. To wrap up, if we want to support young men in growing into healthy, confident individuals, we need to redefine masculinity in a way that allows them to be both strong and compassionate, ambitious and kind, resilient and open. We also need to help them embrace their feelings, their vulnerability, and their critical thinking. We need to become more aware of the hazards of the online world so that we are one step ahead and can help them navigate through the potential dangers. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you think makes a strong and healthy man today in the comments section below. And again, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please subscribe now by clicking the circle to receive more helpful content, and drop me a comment or give me a like. See you next time for more mental health hacks and advice for you and the people you care about.